Our first question for today is, what are the forces that create great opportunities and concerns for Africa in 2017? And maybe we could start with you, Flory.
Yes, thank you, Lee. So first of all, there's the African demographics. There are about 1 billion people, and 50% of those people are under the age of 20. So we have a tremendous youth bulge in Africa. Africa today is also wealthier, and Africa's combined GDP is rapidly growing. We have a number of sub-Saharan African countries whose growth rates exceed more than 5% a year. 11 of the world's fastest growing economies in 2014 were in Africa. And Africa's combined consumer spending power will be about 2.1 trillion by the year 2020. And so after 15 years of growth and urbanization, Africa is now poised for an era of self-sustaining growth, one that is higher than in most emerging market and developing country regions. It will account for the largest source of new entrants into the global labor force. And Africa accounts for 60% of the world's total amount of uncultivated arable land. So again, Africa today provides a lot of tremendous opportunities. They are more connected than they ever have been. More than half of Africans have mobile accounts, and there are over 35 mobile operators. And online internet growth has grown from 5 million in 2000 to over 200 million in 2016. So what this means is that there are incredible opportunities for new and diversified U.S.-Africa business engagement, more trade, more investment, more win-win joint ventures. And I believe that CCA is uniquely positioned to advocate for and promote U.S.-Africa business and investment as U.S. companies and institutions look to Africa for expansion and growth. And yes, there are some continuing challenges. We have to admit that: poverty, high unemployment, especially among Africa's youth, pockets of ongoing conflict, corruption, and governance issues in some countries. But CCA believes, our members believe, that the positive trends and forces are rapidly closing in on those that remain a concern.
Ambassador Cohen, did you have comments also? Thank you so much, Flory.
Yeah, Flory gave a very comprehensive survey of Africa. I would just add that I would emphasize the agricultural potential. Under colonialism, the Africans were trained to send commodities out of Africa, especially minerals and tropical agriculture, but they were always importing their own food, meat, and other products. Now, Africans are starting to develop their own agriculture. For example, Nigeria, I was just reading an interesting statistic. Nigeria is now the greatest producer of manioc in the world. Now, manioc is a food that a lot of people eat as their main food during the day, but it's also a tremendous industrial product. It has starches. It has all sorts of byproducts. 5% of the cattle feed in Europe is manioc coming from Africa. So when I see that Nigeria is now the biggest producer in the world, it really gives me a good feeling that Africans are finally moving into what is great potential for them. And of course, a number of countries now are more welcoming to the private sector. And when I'm talking about private sector, I mean the Africans themselves. More and more Africans feel secure when they think about investing. And I'm not talking about necessarily big things. If somebody wants to set up 10 sewing machines to make some clothing, that's an investor. And this is more and more of them are starting to work in many countries.
If I could just add one other point that Ambassador Cohen reminded me of when he was talking about agriculture. It reminded me in commodities and how Africans have been producing products that are on the lowest end of global value chains. One of the biggest challenges for Africans now, and we're seeing them begin to make a dent in this is to add value to their own products, to become the ones that process products on the continent, and so that they're not the ones that are sending out the raw commodities and importing all of the manufactured and processed products from other countries, but that they actually are adding value to those products themselves.